Italy promises continued support to Tanzania.
Tanzania and Italy share a lot in terms of agriculture and
Good evening, I am Kanki Mwegomole. You can also follow us live via our YouTube channel, TBC Online, and also get all the latest news through our Instagram, Facebook, and X pages at TBC Online. A joint summit between the East African Community and the Southern African Development Community on the Democratic Republic of the Congo crisis has kicked off at ministerial levels today in Dar es Salaam. Speaking during the opening of the summit, the leaders have stressed the need for an immediate ceasefire to save millions from sufferings and killings. Nasa Kingo has attended the opening of the summit and has prepared the following report.
Affairs and East African Cooperation Ambassador Mahmoud Thabit Kombo says Tanzania remains committed to regional peace.
Indeed, this noble gesture has once again demonstrated Tanzania's unwavering, true and positive spirit of our father of the nation, Mwalimu Nyerere, towards reminding us for our unity and solidarity, and in our quest to achieve enduring peace and stability in our region, both SADC and EAC.
General Secretaries of the two communities underscore how important are the deliberations that will be met during the meeting.
The deliberations and discussions that bring us together today center on a geographical area in our proximity, a people who are one of us and who are us. It is therefore critical that as we have a meeting of minds, we place the people at the center. We are the voice of the women and children of Eastern DRC, as well as the various troops out there in the field.
The security situation in the eastern part of DRC remains volatile, characterized by attacks by M23 and the capture of Minovo, Sake, and Goma, which resulted in the death and casualties of civilians and peacekeepers, worsening an already fragile security and humanitarian situation.
The co-chairman of the EAC SADC regional ministerial level meeting insists a peaceful DRC is a peaceful Eastern, Southern, and the whole of Africa.
Regrettably, the situation in the Eastern DRC has a negative collateral impact on the SADC and EAC regions and beyond. A peaceful DRC is a strong positive force in our region and indeed in Africa.
We are here as brothers and sisters, not to have an East African community position, neither to have a SADC position. We're here to have a joint position so that peace can visit and rest and reside in DRC.
Tanzania hosting this joint EAC and SADC meeting today in Dar es Salaam signifies the critical and key role that Tanzania plays in peacekeeping across the continent. Reporting from Dar es Salaam, Nasa Kingo, TBC News.
Due to the ongoing fighting in Eastern Democratic Republic of Congo, African leaders are trying to find a solution to the crisis. The East African Community and Southern Africa Development Community are meeting in Dar es Salaam. Today the meeting was at a ministerial level, while tomorrow heads of state will meet. To discuss the DRC crisis, in the studio we have a political analyst, Patronus Niagira. Thank you so much for joining us.
You're welcome.
What is your point of view regarding the DRC crisis?
Yeah, first of all, with regard to what has been going on and what is actually happening in Dar es Salaam today, is a clear manifestation that they are following up a bigger or larger implementation side of which was agreed in 31st January in Harare, Zimbabwe. And this is to bring actually everlasting peace. And when you look at the Congo issue, the problem which has a lot of faces, and it needs a number of actors to come together to have joint meetings like this one, which have actually taken place today, to make sure that they iron out things which has been discussed from 2022, 2023, 2024 at Rwanda as a Rwanda process and Nairobi as a Nairobi process from East African community. So I think it's key to make sure that people come out clear with the concise kind of solutions that will enable Congo to be a nation that deserves to be.
And as a political analyst, what do you expect from this summit?
First of all is to come up with the only one stand, because, you know, they are joining two different systems. They are joining East African community vis-a-vis SADC. They are joining these two because of only two things which had occurred before. The Rwanda process, which was under Joe Lourenco, the president of Angola, meant or was facilitated by the African Union, which was entirely looking at the diplomatic relations between Congo and Rwanda, but also looking at how M23 can cease fire and those who are supporting M23 can back off. That's number one. But number two, there were things concerned with the East African community, because the two nations are in East African community. SADC, Rwanda is not a member of SADC. So if SADC stays there in Harare and discuss issues alone, it won't do justice to Rwanda. So because of that, they had a joint meeting. Now this joint meeting is crucial, because at the end of the day, it must come up with the only one stand on how they should move forward. What actually made these two agreements, the Nairobi process vis-a-vis the Rwanda process, what conspired in between. And so therefore they can see the commonalities and the similarities and the differences and come up with the one stand, of which together now, as two forces, they can enter into Congo and see what they can advise properly.
In such a short period of time, we've witnessed a lot of people have lost their lives. What do you think should be a lasting solution?
There is one short-term one, but also the long-term. The short-term is the M23 to cease fire. Actually, they have to speak with the M23 to ensure that it does not carry on the fight. That's number one. So that the humanitarian grounds and the humanitarian activities can rejuvenate, can start in the Congo. That's number one. But number two, we have the long-term issue now. You know, Congo is faced with two major challenges. One, there are external groups within Congo, of which the host countries are directly in the Congo trying to fight them. That's number one. But number two, there is a problem within the Congo itself, whereby you find the systems running the state is not stable. They don't have good laws, they don't have clear laws, which look at the resources correctly, like the mining law, which can be able to ensure that all these people who are doing trade, mining, trading, can go well. That's number one. But number two, the Congo itself has no democratic systems which actually can bring all the parties together. So the problem of leadership becomes so crucial and so vital when we are speaking to address this challenge. Because now you see the issue of M23 arising from CNDP is a clear indication that they failed to manage what we call the diversities, to accept that, for example, the tribes which are of Rwanda-speaking culture, for example, can be accepted in Congo. So all these, when you look at them, form a serious, complex issue, of which now needs to go slow and form or come up with a proper formula which can make the external actors, such as Rwanda, Uganda, and the others in the Congo, to withdraw their forces from Congo, but also to stop facilitating and supporting M23. If that is done, it remains again a serious problem within the Congo that need actually to be done. And when you look at Congo itself, it has over 100 groups, militia groups, over 100. The active one is the M23 and the FDLR, of which they need to be settled. And these are the talks which has been going on. And there has been a serious parting and departing, coming together and not coming together of these actors.
Thank you so much for your time. In case you've just joined us, we were just having a chat with our political analyst, Patronus Niagera. Thank you so much. The Permanent Secretary of the Ministry of Energy, Felchesmi Mramba, urges members of the East African region to invest more in the energy sector and take part in the energy transformation from fossil fuel to renewable fuel so as to protect the environment against the effects of climate change. Speaking to journalists in Dar es Salaam, Mramba urges petroleum stakeholders to unlock all potential opportunities in the upcoming 11th East African Petroleum Conference and Exhibition, which will take place from the 5th to the 7th of March in Dar es Salaam.
As we approach the shift in energy transition from using fossil fuels to utilizing renewable energy, Tanzania will continue to use the available gas and oil. This will be the main agenda for the upcoming event.
On their part, Jean-Baptiste Haju Gimana, who is the Director of Production Sectors in the East African region, says the conference will highlight the challenges that exist in the energy sector, while Sajab Habib Rai, the country manager of Mansour Industries Limited, praises the contribution of Tanzania towards creation of a friendlier environment for local investors.
The scope of this conference, it provides an opportunity for stakeholders, policymakers, and experts to engage in discussions that drive regional partnerships, enhance local expertise, and promote a harmonized, sustainable energy strategies for the EAC.
More than 1,000 participants are expected to attend the conference, which, among other things, will discuss research and operations of oil and gas in East Africa, investment opportunities, and the value chain in oil and gas, as well as the use of clean energy. The ambassador of Italy to Tanzania, Giuseppe Sean Coppola, promises to support Tanzania in the agriculture sector through the empowerment of modern machinery and knowledge so as to promote the economy of Tanzania. Ambassador Coppola made the remarks in Dar es Salaam during the closing ceremony of the Lab Innova for Tanzania workshop, which aims at supporting development and internationalization of African companies in the agribusiness. Peter Mganga has the following report.
Agriculture contributes significantly to Tanzanians' GDP, currently accounting for around 25 to 30% of the country's total GDP, making it the backbone of the Tanzanian's economy, with the sector employing a large population. Ambassador of Italy to Tanzania, Giuseppe Sean Coppola, shares his commitment on Italy-Tanzania ties on agriculture sector.
Tanzania and Italy share a lot in terms of agriculture and knowledge of agriculture. Agriculture is a very, very important sector in the Tanzanian economy, but also in the Italian economy. And I think that we can, working together, we can, it can be a very mutually beneficial partnership, because Italy has a huge experience in modernizing agriculture, also in the production of agricultural machinery, and also in transferring technology. And so this is part of the cooperation, bilateral cooperation efforts. This is, of course, the first of other initiatives that we'll carry out, especially also with this Lab Innova initiative with the Italian Trade Agency. But I seize the opportunity to encourage all the Tanzanian companies in the agricultural sector, but not only, also in other sectors, to join us for the Tanzania-Italy Business Forum next week, as I said, on the 11th and 12th.
The director of the ICE office based in Nairobi, Kenya, Giuseppe Manenti, who is also part of organizing team of Lab Innova for Tanzania workshop, says the main mission is to ensure that they help Tanzanian farmers' products reach international market standard.
We do this with a goal to elevate the quality of the the way of the farmers approach the market, and also to show the Tanzanian farmer the Italian technology and Italian tools to approach the international market.
Tanzanian participants who attended the Lab Nova for Tanzania workshop promised to utilize knowledge acquired to add value to their organizations by producing goods that meet international standards.
Actually, this training has been really helpful, and it is really constructive to us because we have been trained on how to run an effective company, but not only a company, but how to produce the best production which are competitive on the international market. And we have received now the knowledge now which makes us promptly not only to sell our products locally, but now to export. But not only how to export, how do you follow the international standards?
We thank the Italian embassy for seeing this opportunity and being ready to collaborate with Tanzanians to make sure that they give this information. We don't go there blindly anymore. As a lot of customers who were involved in this training, they got a chance even to ask questions, to get the steps, how they can enter in those new markets, and what are the procedures, the steps that they have to take care before they move into the market.
It is a good initiative, and it has given us a good learning on the basics of what is required, on like the standards we should have, certifications we should have, and how we should strategize our business.
In other news, the government of Tanzania urges the Africa Capacity Building Foundation to support the national capacity building efforts in key development areas that align with the foundation's strategic plan for 2023-2027. These areas include climate change financing, clean energy, agribusiness and food security, trade and investment, and economic and social governance. The Permanent Secretary in the Ministry of Finance, Dr. Natu Mwamba, made the remarks in Dodoma during a meeting with the Executive Secretary of the Africa Capacity Building Foundation, Mamadou Biteye.
Tanzania is committed to strengthening capacity in key areas, including climate change financing, clean energy, agribusiness and food security, trade and investment, and economic and social governance. Additionally, we are also focusing in science, technology, innovation and digitalization, the blue economy, and economic diplomacy. We have observed a close alignment between our national capacity priorities and the ACBF strategic plan for 2023-2027. You will note that we submitted these priority areas along with concept notes to your good office through ACBF's Director of Program and Impact. We are confident that with ACBF's support, we can effectively address Tanzania capacity development needs.
On the other hand, the Executive Secretary of the Foundation, Mamadou Biteye, emphasizes the urgent need for project management training across Africa to address the challenges of underutilization of funds provided by international organizations.
That we have realized with the World Bank, by the way, is that the level of absorption of funds by African countries is extremely low. When it comes to World Bank provided funds, the average on the continent is about 30%. So this means 70% of allocated resources end up not being utilized, which is a big gap, missed opportunity, right, for funding development programs and others. So this new training program aims to support the capacity so that countries can more effectively implement projects and actually increase the rate of absorption of resources provided to them.
The Minister of Information, Culture, Arts and Sports, Professor Palamagamba Kabudi, directs Tanzania Broadcasting Corporation to strengthen educational programs that will sensitize people to participate in the general elections later this year. Minister Kabudi gave the directive in Dar es Salaam while opening Workers' Council. He says it is important for citizens to receive correct information so as they can make the right decisions when electing their leaders. Commenting on the importance of TBC Act, Minister Kabudi says it will enable the corporation to protect its assets. On his part, the Director General of TBC, Dr. Ayubu Urioba, says TBC will build a fence on all its properties so as to protect them. He also thanks the government for continued support in different development projects. Kenya's veteran journalist Leonard Mbotela has passed away in Nairobi, Kenya, where he was receiving treatment. Born in 1940, Mbotela worked with Voice of Kenya, which was later transformed to Kenya Broadcasting Corporation for more than 58 years and was famous in the East African region with his radio program, Je Hu Ni Ungwana, that began to be aired in 1966. TBC News has interviewed Paul Ilado, who is the editorial director for Radio Africa Group in Kenya, to learn more about Mbotela.
Ndio mimi nauliza, ni ungwana?
Leonard Mambo Mbotela is a big name. He's a man who, was successful in many ways in this broadcast industry, the journalism industry. One of his longest and most iconic achievements is a program that he put on air for 55 years. That program was ran on Kenya's national broadcaster, KBC, both on radio and on television. It was called Je Hu Ni Ungwana. I can tell you, even as a young man growing up, one of the programs that my parents made us listen to every Sunday was Leonard Mambo Mbotela's program. It was a program that was addressing challenges society was facing, but mostly it veered towards morality and just challenging people to be morally upright. Hence the title, Je Hu Ni Ungwana. Now, Leonard Mambo Mbotela worked for KBC for, his entire life, literally. I think almost 60 years or thereabout. But even upon retirement, he still was able to make significant contributions towards journalism career, because then he became a mentor to many people. He would offer, sessions to institutions, universities, colleges that, were training journalists. The second thing that is very well remembered about this gentleman, in 1982, to be precise, on 13th of July, 1982, there was a coup attempt in Kenya. At that time, the president was Daniel Moi. A team of soldiers led by some from Air Force tried to overthrow president. And so they occupied. But as soon as they got there, they realized that they didn't have someone to read the news for them and to break the news that they were now in charge of the country. So they sent soldiers to Leonard Mambo's house, got hold of him, brought him to the studio, and gave him a script to read. Now, there was a voice of Leonard Mambo Mbotela announcing that Moi had been overthrown, but he did that under very heavy security. After that incident, Leonard Mambo continued to be in KBC, did his work, was promoted, and he became such a big household in Kenya. So it is a sad day because it's not every day that you find legends like Leonard Mambo, a very humble person, extremely well experienced in life and in matters politics, yet extremely careful about what he says and what he does.
May his soul rest in eternal peace. The Director General of the Fisheries Research Institute, TAFIRI, Dr. Ismail Kimerey, says that distribution of modern equipment to fishermen communities will help them practice productive and safe fishing as well as improve the economy. Dr. Kimerey made the remarks in Bagamoyo District Coast region during the distribution of modern tools to fishermen, saying the government's goal is to ensure that fishermen get modern fishing tools that will enable them to conduct profitable fishing.
Action that the government wanted to take as per research was that we needed to increase the chances that the fishers, especially those that are small-scale fishers, they can reach fishing grounds in short distances, but in areas where they can get enough fish for their food and for selling and improving their livelihoods. And therefore, then the FAD project came about. And that is what we have been doing as the Tanzania Fisheries Research Institute through the Ministry of Livestock and Fisheries to deploy. Currently, we are deploying about 10 FADs in the Bagamoyo area. We are going to deploy, I think, 20 more FADs in other districts of the coastal regions in Tanzania.
On his part, the Agriculture and Fishing Development Programs Officer from the Ministry of Livestock and Fisheries, Sikudhani Mponda, says that the ministry will conduct an evaluation after every 6 months to assess the performance after the use of those equipment.
The installation of the final FAD among the tents that are being constructed and installed. So we expect after 6 months, it will come with the positive impacts. So there's a fishery that are monitoring these FADs, which we expect they will be collecting data. So we expect for them to have accurate data that will help us to bring back the results and having the positive impacts of the FAD so that they can reach out to the aims of the project that's promoting the inclusive income and resilience in food nutrition and food security.
In case you missed any of our news stories, remember you can always go to our YouTube channel at TBC Online and watch anytime, anywhere. Before concluding the local news tonight, let's take a look at today's exchange rates according to the Bank of Tanzania, BOT. Don't miss TBC News every weekday. It's now time for the international news.
The General Antonio Guterres will travel to Addis Ababa next week for the AU Peace and Security Council Summit, where discussions on restoring stability in the Great Lakes region are expected to take center stage. Guterres has issued a special appeal for peace in the Democratic Republic of Congo, DRC, warning that the humanitarian situation in Goma is dire as thousands have been killed and hundreds of thousands displaced due to ongoing violence. Swedish police said the victims of the country's worst mass shooting were of multiple nationalities, as Syria and Bosnia said their citizens were among the dead. Regional police chief said the gunman had killed 10 people before apparently killing himself. After a time-consumed search of the partially smoke-filled premise, which lasted about an hour, they found the suspected shooter dead with several weapons next to him. Officers also found 10 empty magazines at the site and a large amount of unused ammunition next to the suspected gunman who...
And in sports, Tanzania Table Tennis Technical Chairman Yahaya Mungulwa says the participation of youth in Dar es Salaam League will promote the development of the game in the country. Chairman Mungulwa believes that youth participation in table tennis competitions will increase skills and knowledge of the players that will make them competitive internationally.
Tumejaribu kuwa distribute katika team tofauti hizi ili waweze kuunderstand.
Now each team has under 17. We have distributed them to different teams to allow them understood how other leagues operate so that they can improve in their own league. We have also uplifting these youth players to be able to play in larger competitions, and we have planned that the winners on the soon to come competition will go and play in the African Champions League.
Mashindano mengine mafupi na washindi watakaopatikana Zanzibar.
Tennis League is planned to take place over the weekend, hoping that youth players will grab the opportunities to boost their talents. And that sports item marks the end of the news bulletin for tonight. Stay tuned for our next bulletin in Kiswahili at 11 p.m. On behalf of the whole team, I'm Kanki Mwegumole. Good night.
Uhali gani mtazamaji wa TBC1, hujambo? Karibu katika kipindi maalumu. Utakapokujua hali yangu, mimi niko salama kabisa, na leo niko hapa studio za TBC1 nikikuletea kipindi maalum kabisa. Leo tutakwenda kuangalia masuala ya afya ya ngozi. Tutakwenda kuwa na mada inayosema umuhimu wa elimu kwa watoaji huduma wa afya ya ngozi. Sitakuwa peke yangu hapa studio, lakini nitakuwa na wataalamu wa masuala ya ngozi. Nitakuwa na Dr. George, yeye ni daktari, lakini nitakuwa na mwanafunzi wa udaktari Abigail Chenga. Karibuni sana. Karibu mtazamaji uwe na sisi. Dr. George, elimu ya afya ya ngozi ni nini haswa?
Elimu ya afya ya ngozi kwa ujumla wake tunasema ni uelewa wa ngozi ni nini, ndani yake kuna nini, vitu ambavyo vinaathiri ngozi ni vitu gani. Lakini pia ni elimu kuhusu vipako vya ngozi. Tunasema kwa Kiingereza inaitwa cosmetics, kwa Kiswahili tunaweza tukasema ni kipodozi. Lakini pia ni ujuzi juu ya chochote ambacho kinapakwa juu ya ngozi kinachokuwa kina uwezo wa kurekebisha ngozi. Kwa hiyo tunasema kuna cosmetic na kuna cosmeceutical, au sometimes tuna cosmetic na kuna drug, a topical drug. Kwamba kitu ambacho kinapakwa, cosmetic ni chochote ambacho kinapakwa kwa ajili ya kusafisha, kupamba, kuondoa harufu mbaya, kuweka harufu nzuri,